As I mentioned before, I am a veterinarian, and it's been my experience that most people don't personally know a veterinarian in their own life. They may have one that they go to for services, but they don't have one as a friend or family member or something like that. And as such, I found that very few people can relate to what I do for a profession and really understand me as a person. So to get us all on the same page, I wanted to start by just going through some facts about the veterinary profession. It took me 10 years to become a veterinarian. That includes 4 years of undergraduate work, 2 years of post-bac studies, while I also worked as a veterinary assistant to gain clinical hours. I then enrolled in WSU College of Veterinary Medicine, go Cougs, and there did 3 years of lecture and lab work, and then a rotating year in clinics where you get to practice with animals under supervision. $286,000 is approximately the amount of student loan debt I took just for WSU alone. I affectionately call this my brain mortgage. It equates to $1,100 a month for the next 30 years of my life, and I will make my last payment when I am 62. 60% of veterinarians are now female. We broke the 50-50 mark when I was a sophomore, and so I'm really excited to be able to be a female representative of veterinarians today. We have a problem within our industry where more veterinarians are leaving the field than coming in every year. It's about 5% attrition rate right now. Some of that has to do with the fact that baby boomers are leaving, but it also has to do with a lot of compassion fatigue and burnout that's happening amongst my colleagues, and the fact that they're choosing to leave because they just can't do it anymore. This next statistic is hard to transition to in any type of gentle way. Of the veterinarians who have died since 2010, 10% have committed suicide. Of the veterinarians who commit suicide, 75% are your small animal veterinarians that work with dogs and cats. 3 is the number of my friends who are veterinarians who have taken their own lives since I graduated in 2016. All of them were in their first 5 years of practice. And then there's me. As a female small animal veterinarian with a high debt load, I represent one of the highest groups for suicide rate in our country. My profession is ranked number 2, just behind police officers, but I am 3.5 times more likely to take my life than anyone else in this auditorium today. Now, I'm sure that was really shocking for most of you to hear, and not what you expect when you come to hear a veterinarian talk. The vast majority of people I introduce myself to picture me doing something like this. And they're not wrong. There are definitely great moments in veterinary medicine, and I love what I do. But usually I am snuggling a dog like this because I just dealt with a case like this. So I'd like to take you through a typical day at my veterinary practice right now. It's going to come at you pretty quickly, and that's okay. That's how I experience it myself. On this particular morning, this happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I arrived at the office around 7:45. I like to get there a little early so that I have time to review my schedule, what's coming in that day. But on this particular day, I was met in the parking lot by my technician. Dr. Bowden, you got to come in right away. Come in. There's a pet here. The owner's crying in the back. I don't know what to do. It's dying. I was like, okay, great. I'm coming. Ran into the back, assessed the pet, turned to the client, and turned and gave her my poor prognosis that the pet really wasn't doing well. And she turned to me and she said, but Dr. Bowden, you have to save her. And so I turned to my team and I said, guys, we need to place a catheter. I need to start fluid boluses. I need monitoring on this pet. We need blood work. We need x-rays, stat. Let's get going. And they're all rushing around trying to do all this stuff. Everybody's dropped what they're doing. They're focused on this pet. And while we're initiating treatment, the pet's heart stops. And so we start CPR, but she dies. And the client's bawling in the back with us. And so I turn to offer her a hug, and I'm consoling her. But I'm distracted because up over her shoulder is my other technician, Sarah, and she's popping her head around the corner, obviously trying to get my attention. And so as gracefully as I can, I transition from my hug and embrace of this client to go figure out what's going on with Sarah. So I walk over, and Sarah's like, oh, Dr. Bowden, I don't know that you know this, but it is 8:20, and your first appointment was supposed to be 8 a.m., and she's been waiting, and she's livid. She's going to be late to work. She said that if you're going to be disrespectful of her time, she's going to leave. She's going to put it all over Facebook. I said, okay, don't worry. I'll go in right now. What is she here for? She has a new puppy. They need vaccines. Great. So I walk up to the door, and I take a deep breath to compose myself. I put on my best award-winning smile. I open that door and I say, I am so sorry, Mrs. Smith. You have my complete attention. Oh my gosh, who's this cute little puppy you brought in? Where'd he come from? Congratulations on your new family member. And our day progresses from there. In the next room, I had a dog that has chronic allergies. The client was upset because she spends